Hello everybody, this is Niclas Huschenbeth and today I'll have another crazy game for you guys. After a lot of you liked this other ridiculous game with the king marching all over the board to A8, I thought let's see another one. And this one I actually found on the website of the Ginger GM, Simon Williams, where he had an article about different kinds of king walks and I'll link to this in the description. And I quite enjoyed this article and I quite enjoyed this game, so I want to share it with you. And before we do this, let me read out to you a comment. And it says, please play a rival match against the Ginger GM, against Grandmaster Simon Williams. And good news for you guys, I will this Sunday. So this Sunday, that is the, let me see the date. So this will be the 17th, 18th, 19th, the 20th. Sunday the 20th of May. We'll play a rival match on chess.com. Check out the announcement video, you'll find the link in the description as well, and I'm looking forward to my match against him. Alright, now let's get to this game. White was Robert Steele and black player is not known, so let's begin. Oh, I should say it was played in 1886, and you have to know that back then they had a different kind of attitude about chess. They were playing much more romantic chess. It was about beauty, aesthetics, sacrificing. So we'll see this in this game. And of course, what else could it be than kind of delayed King's Gambit here, f4 and d4. And this is a provocation. Black takes it, he gives a check, and white has to move his king up because of g3, black could take. So king e2. But white has the center. d5, black wants to open up the position as quickly as possible against the white king, gives a check here on g4, this is not winning the queen, white can put a knight in between, and now castle. He could have also moved the knight, maybe it would have been a little bit better, but like I said, back then they want to checkmate, they want to sacrifice, and that's what black's doing here, and it's also very interesting. And white takes up the gauntlet, I think that's how it's called. Don't quote me on this. He takes the piece, bishop c5, c takes b7, king b8, and now knight b5 defending the pawn on d4. Black brings out all his pieces. He's doing what you ought to do, bring all the pieces into attack, but white is defending well. He plays c3, stabilizing this pawn, rook check, and the king marches forward. King to d3, good move, because otherwise if the king goes to d2, the knight could come in with check, maybe go to f2 for queen and rook, so king d3 is good. Bishop f5, and you have to go forward here, and this is still good for white. Actually, this position is pretty decent for white. He's a piece up, and his king is not getting checkmated yet. Alright, bishop e6 check. Now maybe white could come back, but he had none of that. He took the bishop on c5. And now white is up two pieces, but his king is on c5 all in the open. And by the way, we should notice that the queen is hanging on h4, because earlier the bishop was pinning the knight, but now obviously the knight can move and take the queen. But black is ignoring this threat. He only wants one thing, he wants to checkmate. So he goes a5, taking away the square from the king on b4. Now white finds a great move to defend against the threats. He plays knight takes c7. He shouldn't be greedy here. If he takes the queen, then he's checkmated in two moves, knight e4 check and bishop d5 checkmate. Not a big surprise with the king so much in the open. So white goes knight takes c7 to defend against these threats, mostly by giving the king a square on b5. Now queen h5 check. Yeah, if you took the knight now, then white would take the queen, so that's not a good idea. Black gives a check, and now white has to go knight e5. If he brings the king forward, it's a checkmate already. So knight e5, and look at that, now the knight has moved and queen is hanging on d1. But for now, this is working out quite fine for white, and we'll see why. Black goes knight d7 check. If he takes the queen, then white goes knight c6 check, and the point is that if black goes to b7 or to c7, at some point those bishops will come out, and actually first the one bishop, then the other bishop, and the queen is attacked by both rooks, and white will just take the queen and he's up a piece, some pawns, so this is completely winning. Black recognized that, he played knight d7 check, the king goes to b5, and now he takes the queen on d1, because now if, let's say, knight c6, then black can take on b7. But white had something else in mind. He played bishop takes f4. And actually that's a mistake. Let's see, what he should do is knight takes d7 check here, which is also quite nice. And now if bishop takes d7 check, then white goes to b6 and threatens knight a6 mate, and the king is actually the important piece here to give checkmate to the king, to the opponent's king, the black king. And black doesn't have a check and loses. So the best move would be to go king a7 here, not to take on c7 either, because then white can always bring out the bishop, take the queen. But to go king a7 here, when white can simply play knight c5, he already has 3 minor pieces for the queen. His king is okay for now, and he is winning here. Still a pretty wild position though, of course. White goes bishop takes f4, and he sacrificed the rook. Very interesting, very interesting. Black takes it. Takes on a1, he probably thinks to himself, well, I'm taking on b2, taking on b7, up a queen, what's wrong? Well, white goes king a6. King to a6, threatening checkmate on c6. That's not an easy threat to deal with. So let's see what black did. He played knight takes e5. Knight takes e5. Now knight takes e8, and here black could have defended. So this is actually a question for you guys. What should black do now to win this game? Alright, if you got it, let's move on. He played f6, which is sufficient to draw the game, but to win it, you would have needed to find rook d5 to defend against this threat of take on e5, because now you can give up the exchange, and black is still up a lot of material and can also play against the white king, of course. So this was winning. If rook d5 c4, then black can also take on b2, threaten to take on b7, and black is also winning. So like Simon writes in the comments here to the game, this would have destroyed this piece of art, but black didn't find the move. He played f6. Now d takes e5. White wants to open up the diagonal again, of course. Black goes f5. That makes a lot of sense to close it. But the bishop tries to find a different route. He goes to e3 and he wants to come to a7. Black takes the knight on e8. That makes sense. And now bishop b5. White is sacrificing the other rook as well. And black takes it. Takes the other rook as well. White has just 2 bishops, the king on a6, so how could this end well here? Well, white also has this pawn on b7, that's an important piece in this position. He gives a check, king to c7, and white could repeat moves actually, because the king cannot escape from the checks. But he wants more, he wants everything, and he goes bishop c5, with the idea of going bishop d6, and then queening. So what can black do here to defend against this threat? Another question to you guys. He needs to play this move, bishop c8, very nice move, pinning the pawn, and if now bishop d6 check, white cannot queen because it would be check, and black can give up his bishop to the pawn, and black will win because he has an extra queen. So after bishop c8, in fact, white would need to give this perpetual we saw earlier, and the draw would be the result. But black went rook to d8, and why is this a mistake? Question for you guys again. One last question. Well, you could go bishop d6, but this would be a mistake. Because after takes, black is not taking. He's going to b8, and you cannot queen anymore. d7, I can take, can play queen d1, doesn't matter, and black wins. But white goes king to a7. He's preparing bishop d6. He's also threatening to go bishop b6 checkmate. Both of these moves, and black cannot defend against. Actually, this bishop b6 checkmate is an even bigger problem, I believe. Well, even though bishop d6 is also a big problem, but black cannot defend, and he resigned. What a picturesque final positions. White has the 2 bishops, and the king made it all the way up to a7, and is the important piece here to win this game. I quite enjoyed this game. To be honest, I enjoyed it even more than the last game because the quality of this game was much higher. Most moves, both players played the best moves, but then Black missed some chance in the end, first to win and then to hold the draw, of course. But yeah, amazing game. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you have further suggestions for future videos of mine, please let me know. If you enjoyed the video, you can also subscribe to be notified when I publish videos. And that's it. See you guys next time. Bye bye.